We know building successful apps is hard. And replicating that success is even harder. All of you are building this huge array of different kinds of apps, and you're all in different parts of those apps' life cycles. So some of you may be just pushing your app to production, and you want to monitor its reliability and performance. And some of you may be really focused on user adoption, because you want to get your app into the hands of as many users as possible. Some of you may be even focused on monetizing your app, because you want to start earning some revenue. Firebase is here to help you with all of those things. We want to be here for you no matter where you are in the process, by helping you solve infrastructure problems like secure sign-in or saving data to the cloud, to giving you app analytics so that you know how your app is performing, or if your customers are running into any troubles, and even to creating personalized experiences that delight your users and keep them coming back for more. At least that's been the case for native on Android and iOS. But we know many of you, maybe all of you here, are building for the web. And we haven't given the full Firebase experience to web developers yet. This year at I/O, we started to close the gap by launching performance monitoring for web. But among the missing pieces was a pretty big one, which was Google Analytics. So you had no insight into your user base, how they were engaging with your content, and so then you couldn't even take any action in Firebase because you didn't know what that would be. But today, we're so excited to announce that analytics, cloud messaging, and remote config are available to use on web, and we're so excited to be here today to talk to you about it. Before we dive in, I'm Mai Lowe, and I'm a product manager for Firebase. I work on Firebase for Web.
And I'm Kevin Lamb, and I'm a product manager for Google Analytics. So here's what we're going to cover today. First, we're going to give you a quick walkthrough of analytics in the Firebase console so that you can see everything that's now been extended for your web app. Then, we'll take a look at how analytics powers both Firebase Cloud Messaging and Remote Config, and explore the different ways that you can leverage these powerful tools for your very own web app. And last but not least, we're going to put it all together with a live demo so that you can see these features in action. Now let's dive in. As app developers, you know that analytics is key to understanding your business. And it can often give you a leg up on the competition. But getting analytics right is a challenge in and of itself. How do you measure the things that matter? And even if you were able to measure them, what do you do with that information? Now, what you need are powerful analysis tools that are both easy to use and immediately actionable. And that's where we come in. Google Analytics for Firebase was built from the beginning to help you measure what matters most to your business. And it stems from our belief in data-driven decision-making and our desire to be your partner in crime as you pour your heart and soul into building your apps and growing your business. And it's to that end that our product has always offered free and unlimited event reporting for up to 500 custom events, no matter how large your app grows. And the best part of all is that it all works out of the box with no fancy code required. Now, without further ado, Mai's going to walk you through what that looks like.
So to show you what's really available for analytics and web, I'm going to give you a quick tour of the analytics console, just the major parts that we're pretty excited about. So this is the dashboard, and this is where you get a bird's eye view of all the metrics that are important to your business. So things like user adoption, engagement trends, revenue metrics if you have them, stability metrics, etc. And as I showed in the keynote earlier, here you can have access. Here you see the filter for the first time, which allows you to drill into a number of dimensions for any of the reports that you see. So things like time, location, and of course now platform. And we're really excited that web is now part of this mix. If you want to drive a little deeper, you go into event reporting. And you'll have this for all the automatically collected events, for the events that you log. And here you get your basic event stats, such as how often the event was triggered and how many users performed that event. And then you also have a demographic breakdown of the users that triggered the event. If you want to see how well you're retaining your users, you can use a retention report. And this shows you how many users are coming back to your app on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. And finally, our stream view. This gives you real-time feedback into when and where users are coming into your app and how they're engaging with the content that you created.
Google Analytics has always been about more than just getting you insights. We strive to take it a step further by empowering you to take action. And that's why Google Analytics is deeply integrated with so many Firebase products. We want to help you with everything from acquiring your users to engaging with them to experimenting with different user experiences. And that's all to say that our goal is to make your life simpler so that you can focus on what matters most, building delightful moments for your users. The foundation of these integrations is a feature called audiences, which are user segments that you define along attributes that are meaningful for your business. Audiences are an incredibly powerful and popular feature because they not only provide rich insights, they also power action. And that's why we're delighted to let you know that audiences also now work for your web apps. This means that you now have the ability to segment your web users the same way you've always been able to on native apps. You can also apply filters on your reports and dashboards using the audiences you create so that you can drill even deeper into the user journeys of specific segments. As an example, you can now carve out your super users, say those who've spent more than $100 in the last month, or users who've made more than 20 bookings in the last year. I can even now isolate the users who experienced a crash on one of the browsers that I support. Now, setting up these audiences is now even easier than ever with a new audience builder that we announced at I/O this year. While we keep saying that audiences power action, you may be wondering what kinds of actions? Well, if you're an e-commerce business, how about sending a targeted notification to your most engaged users, thanking them for being loyal customers and offering them a discount on their next purchase? Or say you're a sports app. How about offering regional experiences by highlighting games that are occurring in your users' home countries? We're excited to let you know that you can now do any and all of the above with your Firebase web apps using Firebase Cloud Messaging and Remote Config. And Mai's going to tell you more.
All right, let's start with Firebase Cloud Messaging, or what the cool kids call FCM for web. Some of you may be wondering right now, I thought FCM already worked for web. Is there actually anything new there? Is it new? Well, what's new is that FCM for web is now powered by Google Analytics. And what this means is that you can send targeted notifications based on new signals that are specific to web, such as browser or OS. What's more, you can send messages to web-based audiences and user properties. So just like on native, this lets you send personalized notifications, which are going to have a much higher likelihood of drawing users back into your app or performing the call to action you put out. So for example, I can create an audience of users who haven't come to my app in the last 7 days, inviting them to come back. Or I could present a subset of them with a coupon, because I know they have a higher lifetime value and therefore a greater tendency to make a purchase. What's best is you can create all of this easily in the FCM console. You can also track the success of your notification using the Cloud Messaging Funnel Report, just as you have been all this time for native. And this lets you see whether the notification you sent actually brought you the user engagement you were hoping for. And all this in the FCM console. Another way to personalize the experience on web is with Remote Config. So Remote Config allows you to have different configurations of your app for different segments of your users. It can be basic, like browser or OS, and it could also be something more complex, like an audience or user property. Say, for example, you want to delight your most engaged users and reward them, maybe with a badge. You can do that by changing your app's background and have a celebratory note there, or maybe a premium offering. It's so easy because you can leverage the power of Google Analytics dynamic audiences. You pick an audience I created earlier from the remote config interface, and that's it. You're done.
We just presented a lot of concepts and features. To make this more concrete, let's take a look at a real example that puts everything in a perspective. Meet Friendly Eats, an app that we developed on Android and web. We just covered this in the keynote, but as a quick refresher, Friendly Eats is a simple restaurant rating and reviewing app that allows users to perform 3 basic tasks. Users have the ability to filter for certain types of restaurants based on category, location, or a certain price point. Users can then provide star ratings based on their own dining experiences, and ultimately write reviews so that other readers can benefit from a collective knowledge of the entire app's user base. Like similar apps, Friendly Eats relies on the community of users who provide those ratings and reviews. And naturally, I'm going to want to grow that community and foster their engagement. So things like confusing or clunky user experiences that prevent my users from completing these core actions, like writing a review and completing them, are really going to hurt my business over time. Now, in contrast, if I want to grow my business, I need simple yet powerful tools that do a few things. I need to be able to monitor how my users are growing over time. I also needed to show me whether or not the techniques that I'm applying are working. And last but not least, I need the ability to take real action based on the insights that I'm gleaning. Now let's look at all of this live so you can get a real feel for what this looks like in the product. Please switch to the demo.
All right, woohoo, that worked. All right, so as Kevin said, the core of Friendly Eats are users writing and submitting reviews. So let's think about what some options are that we can do here. So a quick and easy thing you can do is send a notification to all users who started writing a review, but they didn't finish. I could send a simple message saying, come back, finish that review. So to do that, I first need to create a segment that groups those target users together. I know I have an event that I log when somebody starts writing a review called Start Review. And then I have another event that I log when someone hits the cancel button called Cancel Review. So basically, I want to target the group of users that logs the Start Review event, and then afterwards logs the Cancel Review event. So let's go to Audience and set this up. And I'm going to create a new audience. It's going to be a custom one. And first, I want to make sure the user even looked at a restaurant. So we're going to say, open restaurant listing. And then I'm going to add a sequence condition. And the first step in that sequence is starting a review. And then I'm going to add a step, and I want it to directly follow the Start Review event. And it's going to be the Cancel Review event. All right. Here on the right, you see a rough estimate of how many users would be included in this audience. And it's just based on your last 30 days worth of data. So you get a sense of, if I were to do something with this audience, how many users would it target? So again, I created this audience earlier, so I'm not going to save it. I'm going to click out. And now I have my audience set up. I'm going to go to Cloud Messaging to set up my notification. So I'm going to create a new campaign. And I'm going to title it, Come Back. And I'm going to, body of the text, I'm going to say, please finish writing that review. So now we're going to go to targeting. And native and web are now available for targeting. So I'm going to click the Friendly Eats web app first, and the audience that I just created, called Canceled Reviewers. And then, because I'm also on Android, I want to target both. So I'm going to go add another app, pick my Android app, and select the same audience, Canceled Reviewers. And then we get to scheduling. So again, scheduling is live immediately by default, but you can always schedule to be on a different date, use the calendar feature, you can have it be recurring. It's pretty handy. And you could even add a conversion event here so that you can take advantage of the funnel report that Notifications has in the console. I won't do that for now. So I'm going to review, and I'm going to publish. And I should get a notification. Should get a notification. Well, it would show up right here if Wi-Fi was on my side. So let's say that's not all I want to do. So let's take it a step further. I want to show a dialog box when somebody enters my app. And I want to say to them, welcome back. Can you finish that review? So I just want to give them another little notch. So I'm going to use remote config for that. And here I am in remote config. And I set up a condition in advance. It's a dialog for unfinished reviewers, and it targets the canceled reviewers that I set up earlier. So I'm going to go to parameters, and I'm going to set this parameter equal to true for this condition. I'm going to update and publish the changes. And then let's reload this instance. And there it is. Welcome back. We would love it if you could finish the review. All right. I got my notification sent. I got my dialog box up. Now I want to make sure I continue to monitor how my users are moving through the path to the event that's important to me. So submitting a review in Friendly Apps. And lucky for me, Google Analytics built a bunch of new features that make that really easy. You can access these features by upgrading to the full Google Analytics experience. And some of you who are current Firebase developers may have noticed a little prompt in the UI over the past few weeks that's telling you to do this upgrade. Once you upgrade, you have access to a slew of incredibly powerful and new analysis tools that I'm pretty excited to share with you. They're all just a click of a button away in the Google Analytics UI. So you go straight in here. And while all of these features are really awesome, there's one that I'm just so excited about. And I think you're going to be too. So we're going to go to Analysis, go to Analysis Hub. And yes, the feature is closed funnels. So for those who don't know funnels and are wondering why I'm so excited about it, closed funnels are a sequence of events or steps that you expect a user to move through before they do the event that's important to you, which is usually a conversion event. So this report is incredibly helpful to you so you can monitor how users are moving through the path, where they're dropping off, and you can adjust your app accordingly. So you know this is what people are doing before they do this important conversion, and this is what they're not doing, and that's why they're not doing it. So and I'm going to start setting one up so you can get kind of a feel for the product. So you basically just go into the editing of steps, and then you can name your first step Open App, for example, in Friendly Eats. And for us, it's going to be the session start event. You can add another step that says View Restaurant. And that event is going to be the Open Restaurant listing. And I won't be repeating this, but basically you want to do this for every step that's logical for your particular app in the funnel. So I created it earlier, as you saw. And we have Open App, View Restaurant, Start Review, and Submit Review. All right, so another feature that's incredibly powerful that I'm pretty excited to show you is called segment comparison. Let's take these out so I can show you live. And basically what segment comparison is exactly how it sounds. You get to compare two segments side by side. And now because we have platform analytics, you can compare platforms side by side. It's incredibly easy. You can see in the UI the segments here on the left, and you just drag them here into the segment comparisons. And then they update. And there you go. You have two funnels side by side, so you can monitor how users are moving through the path and how it's different for web and Android. All right. I've shown you a lot of stuff. I showed you how to navigate through analytics for web. I showed you how to set up a notification campaign in FCM to target an audience that we built together. I showed you how to use remote config so you can configure a different kind of app experience for any kind of user segment that you want. And then I showed you how to get some advanced analysis so that you can really analyze your strategy from beginning to end. Ultimately, this is going to help get users back into my Friendly Eats app. It's going to help me grow my business. And ultimately, it's going to help all the end users find restaurants that they delight in and have awesome moments there. Back to the slides, please.
All right. As Mai mentioned, we covered a lot in this session. But we've really only scratched the surface, because there's still so much more for you to explore in Google Analytics using our powerful analysis techniques, including building segment overlaps and exploring user journeys through path analysis. Now, we won't go into detail on those, but we'll let you explore them on your own, or you can come to the Ask Firebase and learn more. With everything we've shown you today, you may be wondering, how do I get started? The great news is that it's incredibly easy. Everything we've shown you today is ready and available to you as soon as you create your next Firebase project, integrate with Google Analytics, and add a web app. Now, if you already have a Firebase project, don't worry. All you have to do, as Mai mentioned, is upgrade to the full Google Analytics experience, add a web SDK, and you're all set. To close, we want to leave you with a simple takeaway, that Firebase is here to help you build better apps and grow your business, now on the web. So we want to thank all of you here in the audience and those who are on the live stream for joining us today on this journey. We sincerely hope that we helped you get closer to delivering your web app A-game. If you have any questions or just want to chat with us, feel free to find us at the Ask Firebase sandbox. Again, thank you all, and enjoy the rest of the summit.